Well, going to the hospital with a heart attack can be a scary experience for anyone, but imagine if you were deaf and could only communicate with doctors through sign language. After being admitted to a hospital, a local man claims he repeatedly asked for a sign language interpreter but was not provided with one for days.
He believes he's a victim of discrimination. As investigative reporter Mike DeForest explains, a judge sided with the hospital instead.
It was a heart attack that landed John D'Ambrosio in the Halifax Medical Center emergency room 3 years ago, but it was his difficulty communicating with doctors and nurses there that he worries could have cost him his life.
When I woke up, she had a mask on her face, and she pulled it down and she said, "Can you read my lips?" I guess.
D'Ambrosio does not read lips. Instead, he communicates primarily using American Sign Language. Yet D'Ambrosio claims the hospital did not immediately provide him with a live human interpreter like the one who joined him for this TV interview.
They said later, and it just kept being later.
For nearly the first 3 days of his hospital stay, D'Ambrosio says he had to rely on a video conferencing system like the one in this promotional video, in which sign language translators appear from a remote location. Under hospital policy, that technology is an acceptable alternative to a live interpreter. But D'Ambrosio claims the computer system rarely worked.
I guess their internet was down or the network was down, and the nurse says, "Oh, I hate this thing."
Hospital workers also shared medical information with him using these handwritten notes, even though D'Ambrosio claims he reads at a 4th grade level. See if you can make sense of this one. It reads, "Your CK, a lab that tells us heart damage, is down from over 8,000 yesterday to 2,000 today. God is looking after you."
A few notes is great with ordering at Burger King, not at having a heart attack.
D'Ambrosio's attorney believes the hospital violated the Americans with Disabilities Act, so they sued Halifax healthcare systems.
Our law requires to provide them accommodations so they could have the equal benefits like everybody else.
But 2 months ago, a federal judge threw out that lawsuit, saying there's no legal requirement for hospitals to provide a live interpreter on every occasion. By using the video conferencing system and handwritten notes, the judge believes the hospital provided D'Ambrosio with the same level of care as anyone else. D'Ambrosio respectfully disagrees with that court ruling. Although he's grateful the hospital saved his life, he believes his communication needs were ignored. Hospital policy requires the staff to make every effort to provide a live interpreter. Due to the ongoing litigation, a hospital spokeswoman cannot comment on why D'Ambrosio did not immediately receive one.
All right, that was Mike DeForest for us. Now, according to court records, Halifax Medical Center has settled 3 prior lawsuits in which it was accused of failing to provide interpreters. Hospital attorneys say those settlements are not relevant to this case, though. Good conversation to have about these things.
Yeah, probably not over yet.